My microphone was muted. Yeah! Actually, no, I'm gonna go back to mute it and have a coughing for stream. It's probably good. I hope. I don't know. I don't know how that shit works. Yeah. Marvelous. But yeah, I think these two will be my 9th and 10th drums that I built. Because I built the two I had on screen. I built RJ's 2 green and purple ones. I built 2 previous blue ones. I built 2 previous green ones. And now I have these 2, both of which are going to the owners of the previous 2 of each of the blue and green ones. So yeah, that, if my math is right, that's 10. I don't know, someone fact check my math. Yeah, so I guess first step, I need some hardware. Is this a box that doesn't have my name on the side of it? Let's, see, I didn't have to think about that before. I didn't have to care that any of my boxes had my name on them. Also, how loud is me versus the audio on YouTube? I have no idea what the balance is for that, because trying to go back and forth and listen to myself is not a thing. So the audio, the music, alright. There's an entire box of bearings. Ugh. Oh, bearings and springs, yeah. Music could be a little quieter. Where I am right now, a little more. There we go. And then, behold, bearings. We love some bearings. Yeah, sometimes you're just gonna regain your bearings. There we go. But yeah, so plenty of bearings for more drums because I like drums. Left the springs out. Although I think I need those. Let's see. Oh, we got those small parts. Small parts. Let's see. We got some drum springs. We got some other bearings. We got some other bearings. 8 sets. Okay, I think technically this... Alright, so this hardware kit goes with this drum. Because Aiden is supplying a hardware kit, and then I will need to use my own hardware for that drum. Which means I'm going to need more drum springs. I need more heat sets. Do I have more heat sets handy? I do. Heat sets are handy. Joined. Cool. I don't know what that means. Oh no. So we have plenty of heat sets. How many springs do I have in this bag? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then 4. I don't remember how many I put in the blue drum previously. I think it was 6. But I think I do need a couple more drum spring. But that's okay. Because... Nope. That's not the right container. Okay, that's not right either, right? I mean, I have more drum springs. But I could have... So if I want to put 6 in one and 8 in the other, I need 2 more. I thought I had more than this. But where would they be, is the question. Unless I threw them in a box over there. Did I throw them in the box over there? Maybe I did. Are they over here? I had... Can't be them all, because this doesn't look like 200 drum springs, but I'm not about to count them. That'll be... That's known as problems for future Donut. Alright, so we have some more screws. I don't remember what screws these are in here. I think these are from a knockout. Right over there. Missed one. Alright, so we should need... How many screws do you need? One for the back, one for the front, one in the middle, on the side, 12. That's too many. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Alright. That'll be our screws we need. Awesome, just go ahead and chuck these in here. A shooter loves stainless steel screws that don't follow the laws of magnetism. They're my favorite. Especially when they fall on the floor. Well, no, especially when they fall in the grass. Then you can't find them with a magnet because, behold, they don't listen to the magnet. Alright, I got one spring there. I need a spring here. Could I have set all this up beforehand? Yes. Did I set all this up beforehand? No. This is the donut way. In the box. Goes back here. Alright. Ah, God. I wish I could stop coughing. I'm getting over being sick the entirety of last week, and that shit sucked. That was not good times. Alright, we have the small part for each of these. Oh, where did I... Need 2 more bearings. Did I put the bearings back in here? I did put the bearing out. Oh. Sorry, Instagram, I have jiggled the phone mount. Alright, couple of bearings. Alright. Small pieces, medium pieces. I think I'll do the... do all the post-processing before I do the heat sets. We'll start with a couple of those. And I think these have no supports. Yeah. These are good to go. In the box. Just remember, kids, every project gets a box. Alright, so... we love some nice, simple support removal. Yeah, that end doesn't need to be cleaned up. If you have a little bit of crud on the end to here, it actually helps it friction fit into the body a little more. This one I knocked the supports off of there. Big support on this end. Look at that. It's a little stringy because it's PETG. The first batch of these drums was actually what got me to start printing PETG. Before that, I was entirely media. Media? Nope. PLA. See, I did the thing where I was talking, and I looked at a word on screen, and I said the word on screen instead of what I was actually meaning to say. This one... but still, this eSun PLA I'm having a little bit more trouble with than the Arione Hyper PETG. But, yeah, overall, they come out fine. nothing that's going to inhibit how they work. Let's see. And I did try... It's gonna be hard to see on camera. But some of the, I can get the autofocus to work. Yeah, you can see how I've been printing the necks. Ugh, bit stringy. I've been printing the necks supportless because for the most part it's worked. Get rid of the strings a little bit. But on this one, I actually tried tuning my support settings a little bit. And you can see that, like, the very end here and, like, where the mag catch are still a little droopy. Autofocus, you suck. But I managed to get the insides a lot better. So I'm pretty happy with that. And, like, I'll show you on my first one I printed, like, this is one that I ran at APOC. Oh, no, that was a supported one. This one? Did I do this one without supports? Like, yeah, I did this one without supports. It's not going to show up well because it's also clear PLA. I also can't see what I'm trying to show you. Yeah, this... But yeah, like... Supports make it clean, but as soon as you get to one of the longer necks, you can't really get the, What 3D printer do I have? I have a... Well... I have 3.5 3D printers. I have... You know what? You asked on Instagram, I can actually show you. So here... We have my primary printer, which is an Soval SV08. It's my workhorse right now. It'll print most things, and it'll print really big things. Like this. It printed one of these 72 dart shells. Behind it is my Soval SV06 Plus, which previously was my workhorse, but it now kind of lives the TPU life, just because it runs slower. It's a bed slinger. On the couch is my half-built Micron Plus that I started building, kind of fell out of building 3D printers, and then now I'm trying to get somebody to buy it from me. And way over there, in the distance, you can see my Voron V0.2. That was my first kit printer. I guess besides my Prusa, I had a Prusa Mark 3S. Ow, my foot. I rotated too fast. I had a Mark 3S that I built, and it was okay, but then, you know, a few years later, I finally decided to build a Voron, my V0.2. And that was my workhorse for a bit, for small stuff, but then I decided I needed a big printer and bought the Sovals. But yeah, all this stuff was printed on my SV08 because it's bigger and it's just... It'll do PETG now after I learned how to do PETG. But yeah, so because of the little bit of dip down bits in the neck of these, what I do is I have two approaches, which is I will either take a pair of broader tweezers in your live video. Oh, Juggernaut. What is... RJ, what does that do? Okay, hold on a second. Oh, howdy, Seth. RJ, explain, what does that do? Like, I see your request, I don't know what that does. I don't know how Instagram works. I have no idea. Okay, well, alright, we're trying something. Accept. Wants to be in the live video. Go live. Okay. Ignore that. Oh, I hit okay. I don't know what it does. Okay.
Oh. That's so great.
Howdy, so that's what that does.
Oh, stream. Not to, well, I guess view it, not to be in it, but.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
Thanks for the invite now.
Yeah. Now we know, and knowing is half the battle.
Indeed it is. I'll leave it to it now, but thanks for.
Yep. Yeah. See you this weekend.
Yes, that you will. I'll see you Friday night.
Yep. Friday night. Party house.
Hell yeah, dude. I'll see you then.
Yep. Okay. Well. Howdy, Al. Yeah. All right. So. I'll say it's kind of funny. This is doing better on Instagram than it is on YouTube, but I guess that's how it works. But anyway, so there's a couple squiggly bits in the inside of the neck of the drum. Wow, the phone focus doesn't really work on that. And what I do is I just take a pair of tweezers, shove it in there, and either try and fish out the part where it's hanging down. If it'll actually, there we go. We'll break it loose and pull some of the filament out, and then just there we go. Or sometimes I'll take and I'll heat up the end of a razor knife. You can see this one's been heated up, and take and use that to try and flatten it down a bit. I think this time I'm just gonna use that. Cut a couple of loose bits loose, and there you go. Like the rest of the inside of the neck, the overhangs do pretty well, or the bridges. It's just those spots, like at the beginning, and where the... Sorry, my door just creaked ominously. But these bits where it's outer walls instead of just direct bridges tend to do weird things with the overhangs. I don't know why. I just noticed there's also there. So you just, once you clean up those couple of spots, like I said, the rest of the overhangs are pretty easy to work around. There we go. Come on. Try not to cut out more than needs it. Yeah, that should be good. This right here, bring it back in a little bit. Yep, quick trim there, and that's cleaned out. Got a rough spot right here, which might be. So I'm just gonna knock that down a little bit because. And then. Yeah, back here you can see it a bit more. There's a bit of droopiness right there. Just hit that a quick bit with the knife. And yep, there we go. And that's just like really, like I said, I've done PLA ones, just, you know, send it and it works. For the most part, the dart won't be scraping the back of there, and if it does, it's the foam part, so it's more compliant. Excuse me. I've got a bit sticking up in there that I'm trying to figure out where it is. Okay, there we go. Alright, so that is one of the necks ready to go. Oh, got a point here. I can just put that back in the box. Here's the other one. Bit stringy, but you know, got some strings. Just throw a butane lighter at it. Usually does the job. Let's see. Yeah, this one, the start is a little bit droopier than normal. What I'm gonna do is just take the lighter, point it in there, and just get it a bit warm in there. Push it down with the back of the tweezers a little bit. Just knocks it down a little bit. At myself a smidge. There we go. And that just knocks it down a little bit. I think a couple more rounds of tuning my overhangs for Pet G, and it should be mint. It's just, this is like... let's see, I think, yeah, I haven't gone through that many spools of Pet G, so I just haven't really dialed it in yet. But the good news is, the Super Drum, like, the tolerances and everything on a Super Drum are done in such a way that you can get away with a fair amount of, not fair amount, but like, you know, some amount of your printer just not behaving, and it'll still work fine. Like, it's pretty good about that type of thing. So next, these. Just a little bit of overhang in here. Again, take the wide-ended tweezers, go in there, overhang, support, and just pop that support out. There we go. Look at that, look at that. That's tidy and not auto-focused. We love when stuff, decent support settings. And then just for the where the screw goes in, I take the tweezers, give it a twist, make sure that end of it's cleaned out, and ta-da! Pet G in the Pet G recycling bag. And again, just tweezers in. Oh, okay. Nope, this one's not gonna play as nice, not gonna come out in one piece. I think I was running these at a different temperature than the previous ones to play with settings and... Oh. That little guy just flew past my ear and landed on my chair. I really need... Jeez. Oh, it's Archer! Hi, Archer! Yeah, it's gonna be a good weekend. What happened here? I was having such good luck with Pet G supports. I don't know why this one decided it was going to be funky, but I don't know, that's a problem. Like, I've got like this was Arione Hyper Pet G, this was PLA. I forgot. Aiden gave me PLA and Pet G for his because the Gizmo Dorks green that matches his spirit, they only had the PLA version in stock. Okay, so that's why that support came out nicer. Which means I need to grab that piece that I chucked into my Pet G bag. Get that out, because that's not actually Pet G. Alright, I found it. It's back in the PLA bag for recycling, because recycle your macroplastics, everybody, even though recycling at a consumer level is a scam, but, you know, I guess fortunately, Neil Boomstick has started taking PLA locally and is using them for casting projects for him and his son. So like, I dumped all of my all my PLA scraps I had on hand on him, and now I feel better because excuse me. Excuse me, that was horrendous. I apologize. So now all my PLA scraps are, instead of going to a landfill, they're at least, you know, going to be reused for something. Yay. Alright, the drums themselves, the body parts don't really have much cleanup. Inside of here, just because Pet G and there's some travel moves that happen in there, you can get a little bit of just gunkiness on the walls, but what I do is just, again, same tweezers, just go around it a few times, knock it down, and then, let's see. Just take one of the bearings and go ahead and set that in there. Look at that fitment. Oh, it's easy. take the other side just to go with for now. I don't know what... Well, no. I sort of know what happened there. Specifically for the PETG files. In Slicer, I put a modifier circle there. So that this bit right here, the wall order, I changed the wall order for it so it'll print a little nicer. Because, like, for PETG, on these drums, I actually had to change the angle of this inner bit here, so that it would print nicely, because I previously had problems with that. On the front, instead of modifying the front, since there's 3 different front files, I instead just put a modifier in the slicer and told it to print in a different order. Also, yeah, his triangle fell out, but yeah, it happens sometimes. Sometimes the front falls off, and it'll be okay. He's getting a really good deal on these prints, so. Then again, there's a couple of just bits in here from this PETG being gloopy. Being real, it's real glorpy. Just glorpy boy. And then, that, as long as... Come on. I felt a little bit there. As long as this bit, fits in there, sits in there pretty decent, that's all the cleaning out we need. So this one is good. Yeah, I don't think there's no bits of brim on here because I did this without brims. So that can get put to the side. So this is the part that has the most supports to deal with. You got support in the middle, then support out here. We're gonna start with the middle. Okay, well, even the PLA supports forsake me sometimes. It'll be okay. It'll all be okay. It'll be okay. The secret is, wow, that white balance fucking sucks on the YouTube. That's fine. You know, just keep the secret to life is just keep saying this is fine. You just keep saying this is fine as you go through life, and everything sucks and everything's on fire and it's a mess, and then you just keep lying to yourself, and you make it through. See, look at that. I kept saying this is fine, and look, there's the inner bit of the support, and I do the same thing. Just take the tweezers, give a spin there to make sure the hole for the screw to go through is cleared out. There we go. Yeah, I remember that one. You know, it was a good idea. You know, and like honestly, Drum Mags in Nerf is a space that it's sort of you know, it's sort of the holy, not quite holy grail, but like it's sort of like the holy grail. Like, you know, a lot of people have chased it over the years, and like there's been a few people who have achieved it, but it's something that's really hard to do, to really get it exactly the way that everybody wants it to be. You know, that's just the trick of it. Like you had Ezekiel's Mythic Drum, which, you know, worked really well. But the downsides to it were, you know, the paid access, proprietariness of it, and that was just, and the complicatedness of the loading. I think that was also a big deterrent for a lot of people in combination with the price. Overheat happened, and it was a good attempt. I think, like, there's a lot that has to go into the drums to make them work well, and I think it was a good attempt at trying to put something into the open source space. There were a few things that I just personally didn't care for about it, but that doesn't mean it wasn't bad. It was a good, you know, attempt, and the second version I've heard works decent enough. It's just it took long enough after the first version that people had some... Not sticker shock. Sticker shock's not the right word, but like... Their impressions of the first one colored their impressions of the second one at that point. It was a bit late to really work off of it. And now for Super Drum, I think the main benefit to the Super Drum was that Captain Autismus waited to release it when it wasn't quite there yet. Like, there was, you know, lots of people harassing him that, like, we need this now, we need the drum now, it looks like it works, it's good enough, give it to us. And he waited still, you know, he waited it out. I know part of that was just personal issues as well, but, you know, he waited out until it was really nails down to release it, and I think that really helped it along, as well as it being perhaps the best attempt at an open source version we have yet. Yeah, this... Can we try from this side, please? Oof. Come on, I've had this particular section of support come out real easy before, and I can usually get out in one piece, but I feel like it is just not going to cooperate right now. Yeah, the fact that that's off, I might have... I used the wrong profile for this print. Like, it's BLA, so it's a bit forgiving, but maybe I... Yeah. Ah, we love... You know how there's all those videos of, like, the ASMR, you know, print support stuff and whatnot, taking prints off plates? This is the opposite of that at this point. We've reached least satisfying support removals. Oh, this stuff is really sharp, and I've just dropped a piece into my slippers. Oh well, I'll find it later. Let's see. What do we got? Come on. Like, I don't know why this is... Oh. Yeah, see, once you get up under the interface part, it behaves a little better, but... Oh, no, never mind, I take that back. Some parts of this are just... They are not behaving. This is awful. What did I do to deserve this? I wonder, I'm trying to remember if this was the new roll of filament from him or the older roll. I should have left the older roll in the dryer for a couple hours before I did this. That might be part of the issue, but at the same time, like, this support bit is far enough into the print that it really isn't a bit too bothered by it, but I don't know. Oh! I know part of what it is. So the previous ones I printed... Yeah. Yeah. I think part of it was... This is after I put the... Excuse me a moment. Let's go. Alright. Ah, yes. Remember, kids. Ow. Ow. Hold on. I found that piece of support material that went in my slipper. Aha! See, I said that would happen. Remember, kids, don't get sick. getting sick sucks, and then as you get older, it takes you longer to recover from being sick. I say as I'm only 31. It's like, I'm not even that old. Yeah, no, it's, not great. But anyway, yeah, actual multi-material printers. Like, the Snapmaker U1. I've been looking at that thing disrespectfully. I'm just like, oh, if I was employed, if I still had a job, I would have gotten one at the Kickstarter 750. Like, I would have jumped on that because, you know, multi-material, like, proper multi-material, not, you know, multicolor thing material. Because, yeah, you can put multiple materials through a single nozzle, but you waste so much material having to purge to make sure you're not getting cross-contamination that really not great. But the multi-head, you know, tool changer is great. Yeah, IDEX, yeah. But the tool changer on it, and the fact that it is running off of Clipper, and just compatible with Orca Slicer by default, is, in my opinion, two of the biggest wins for the system, because it means that you're not locked into the manufacturer's choices. Like with other systems, you know, the manufacturer decides, hey, we're pushing an update that makes it do this thing. We're locking it out of other slicers. Stuff like that. You're, you know, either stuck with that choice or stuck having to fight that choice. But with something running on... This sucks. Running on an open source backend like Clipper, you have a lot more control over the machine. And then just working with an existing slicer. Like, yeah, they put out their own slicer, or their own fork of Orca, but then they're like, yeah, if you want, you can just use it on regular Orca. We're not stopping you or anything. Like, that's so great as well, because nobody wants to, like, be downloading multiple slicers and stuff if they have multiple brands of printers. Or just over time they gotten different printers. Like, remember when Creality and other companies used to just put out their own version of Cura for every printer, and, you know, that then wouldn't update it, and so if you add this version of Cura for this specific printer, it's like, oh boy, I want to use this printer, let me go open this version of Cura. That was awful. That was not good. It wasn't enjoyable. It wasn't beneficial. It sucked, but, you know, being able to have a strong open source option like Orca Slicer and it just be supported by printers is fantastic for user choice and just user friendliness. Yeah, that's part of the reason I don't have a Banjo as well. It's just I like being able to make my choices on machines, and also like I like a little bit of tinkering. Like, I bought an SB08 because I was like, for basically the same reason. So I'm like, yeah, you know, there are some shortfalls, but at the end of the day, it's running Clipper, and I can mess with the machine and do what I want with it. And now it's great. I for the most part, I send a print to it. I don't even have to bother looking at the print between when I hit send in Orca Slicer and when it starts beeping at me that it's done. Or, you know, whenever I come, you know, whenever I wake up in the about 10 morning, I've actually been waking up in the morning lately. You know, when I wake up, and behold, there's just a print on the bed. You know, that's, you know, it works. It took some work to get it to that point, but it works. So. Alright, there's all the supports out. Yay. Behold, support material. I'm going to take this. Yeah, that looks like it's all PLA. I'm going to take this, dump it into my PLA bag. You get to look at my awesome desk mat for a second. I keep a couple of bags next to my printer. One for PLA, one for PETG, one for TPU, and then all my scraps go into one of those three so that I can keep them organized. I've got some stuff like, you know, Boomstick I dump my PLA on him and he does stuff with it to reuse it. Pet D, I haven't quite figured that out yet. And TPU also haven't, but at the very least, you know, I'm not throwing them directly into the garbage. And one day, you know, I'll have something to do with. Alright. Onto the blue drum. We're back on this side, which, you know, a little bit of wispiness on these parts where it started off with thin sections. You know, you could do this with a heat gun, but I find the lighter easier for quick and spot application of heat. Plus, as long as you're careful, it's not an issue. If you're not careful, whoopsies. I'm dropping frames. We got a little bit of gunk on the inside because, you know, it's Pet G and it likes just rough bits everywhere. Go around that. You know, give it a wipe through. Pick the bearing. Is this bearing garbage? Ooh. Okay, no, it's fine. Take the bearing. It just goes in. Fantastically. It goes in the PLA ones, goes in the Pet G ones. I don't know. If you print one of these out of ABS, you might have to scale it a little bit. I know ABS shrinks, but usually you can just throw a 1% scale. Or, yeah, 1% scale into the slicer and make up for it. This side, we got some... I do really like this blue. This is the Arione Hyper Pet G. I think it's just transparent blue. I quite like this. It's a very nice transparent blue. My outer walls aren't the prettiest because you know, it's like my printer has some VFAs at slow speeds. And, you know, the Pet G's running slower than PLA. I can run PLA at stupid speeds, but, you know, it's still pretty nice. Test with the centerpiece. Make sure, yep, that just goes in. That's going to sit there and be contained, and that piece is ready. Alright, another one of these, and just looks so good. This one have the same issue? Yeah, so one thing that happens is on these pieces right here, the fan, because these are so thin out here, is these bits like to lift. Oops, something fell. I think, fortunately on this one, I think I used the brim on this, and it didn't happen, but like, even on the green one, it's kind of weird on... But even on this one... Yeah, I have one that has a little bit of lifting. But, you know, fortunately, again, the drum tolerances are put together well enough that this doesn't matter. It still works. But it's weird. The one that tends to lift is when I have it on the printer like this. So, like, this is the right side of the printer. It's almost always the one that's pointing directly right. And I don't know why. Something with fans or something. It's weird. But, yeah, you know, whatever. Oh, you know, I know what I forgot to do. Shame on me. Hold on, I have to go... I learned to self-promo myself better. How dare I? Yeah, but Inventor sucks. Alright, anyway. Yeah, so we're gonna try the supports on this one. So again, just... Ah! Yeah, there! That one came out. Just having to have my poor phone at an angle that I can't actually see it, so I have to just every once in a while look over and be like, has anybody commented something I can respond? Alright, so, what I normally do, try and get that in, then get up underneath it, and... Nope, try to do it from... a couple angles. I swear, I've gotten this piece out in a single hunk before. But I think what I was realizing is that was prints done before I changed to a micro Swiss nozzle, their high flow nozzles. I would like a modular, changeable, an easily changeable nozzle. Yeah, and I think the flow may be enough different that I should make adjustments. Like, that is ridiculous how stuck on. I had really good luck with Pet G supports previously. Like, surprisingly good. It's really... a fair bit surprising that I'm having to... let's work. I wonder... I don't know what the difference might be. Like, I would think more so it's temperature difference, but I haven't... Actually, it might be. I dropped the temperature on this, like, 10 degrees from the previous time I ran it. That could also have done it, because it might mean... that there's not as much difference in the interface layer fan application. Oh, well, okay, I've discovered part of the issue is the rim for the support material has basically bonded to the center hub here. So that... oh, I bumped it. That does not help. Turning that into one conjoined piece. That's a bit disconcerting how much that moves, but should be fine. Alright, so now, back to our side that we have a beneficial angle on. I'm gonna try and... no, I think it's cooked. I'm just gonna have to... God, it's like peeling a sheep. Go around it. I'm gonna try and... oh, okay. Well, that's where that bit has completely separated. It's kind of a shame. This is not, like, indicative of my normal experience with this. So... normally this part... I know what happened. It's because I decided to stream it. I decided, oh, wouldn't it be funny if this shit was a pain and embarrassing? I guess on the bright side, I haven't really injured myself yet. Like, there's always time to injure myself. That one felt like it was working as beneficial. Shards of Pet G all over, which sucked because Pet G makes very pointy shards. What does this button do? Who's watching? Ah, okay. Oh, I'm jiggling the shit again. Actually, it seems like maybe the stabilization sucks. Anyway. Come on. Nope. Start from this side, maybe. Yeah, so with like Pet G for supports, for the interface layer, you basically just blast it with fan. Because the rapid cooling is supposed to make it not bond as well to the layer beneath it. I guess not the interface layer, but above the interface layer, I think. So my theory, I guess, is that setting it 10 or so degrees cooler, it didn't really cause that much of a sharp contrast in temperatures. It didn't cause the lack of bonding to occur. Maybe. I don't know. We're spitballing here. Spitballing as I struggle with this. Alright. That's the majority of it. Should probably leave a lot of this, because it doesn't really interact with any bits that are on the drum. I still like to clean it out so that it doesn't, over time, lose bits inside the drum. Which, I mean, most of the time those bits will fall out the back. Like, I was at APOC and I dropped my drums in the sand a couple times, and most of the sand is falling out at this point. Okay. Very good. Yeah, this part... this part is, like, surprisingly on there as well. Like, almost like the bottom layer expansion was higher. Weird. Quick check-in, you're pretty quiet. Oh, I didn't move my mic again. Oh, I can also turn that up a bit. See, I had the mic turned down for the stream just because I was afraid that I was blasting people with my voice, which I know what my voice sounds like, and I wouldn't want to do that to people. But I guess you could just turn down the volume, so, you know. Yeah, let me know if that's better. I'm sure that my blue snowball ice is not contributing to mic issues at all. My poor... You continue to be quiet. I turned that up. Oh, I wonder... I can also check my filters and see if I'm accidentally... Turn my filter down a couple decibels, or my closing threshold, and see if that works. Oh! Maybe turn my opening threshold down a little bit as well. I tried to set filters to keep out printer noise, but then I just gave up on running the printer while I was on here anyway, because it kept out the noise, but it made my it still sounded really weird through the filters. Maybe I angle the mic a little bit. Yeah, maybe that's the secret. Let's see. And then I'm also just not talking as much. Well, I gotta talk a little bit. I guess I can also turn the Spotify down a bit more, because that would also help. Yeah, this is just a little bit of cleanup here, partially so I don't hurt myself later on. Because you can be damn sure that I will accidentally drag my thumb across some part that sucks. And it'll be like, oh, well, surprise, we have a bleeding donut. Alright. There you go. Look at the... God, that's such a good blue. Alright. And with that, that should be most of the print processing that needs to be done. Screwy. Leave those over there. Oh, this is better than the... Better than the Instagram count. Yeah, the Instagram, I gotta keep it, like, off to the side a little bit, because otherwise it's, like, right where my face is, kinda. Like, I guess I could try and do it top down. Oh, well, part of the problem is, like, I need it somewhere that I can also look at the Instagram chat and answer it. So if I have it, like, up here, where fingers are, I'd have to, like, constantly stand up to look at it. And I don't have an extra arm to do that. Like, right now I've got the Instagram camera on a flexi arm that's clamped down. It would be difficult to get it up above me. Unless... Alright, give me a second. I can try and make that better. Move the mic here. Hello, Instagram. You're looking at the back of my microphone now. Alright. I should not point that at me too much. How is that camera angle? That kind of sucks. Still. Cool. That's probably good. Yeah. I can still see it. I just have to stretch to see it. I'm sure that's... Oops. And then if I put my mic over here, point it a little bit this way. That's probably not bad. Actually, I can probably bring that down a little bit. Like that, like how... Okay, yeah, alright, cool. I have adjusted the Instagram camera. It's now closer to me, so the voice should be better too. Alright, so we've done print cleanup on these two. Next step is heat sets, which is fun. So I will, because I want to actually show how I do it better, I need to move more of my junk. So we're going to take my work mat. That's going to stay. We're going to pick up the desk mat. Over here. Oh, it's already been an hour. Alright, well, one hour mark. Here you go, y'all get a treat. Oh, it's the thing that people like on the internet. Wow. Ooh. Alright, well, that's it. There we go. That's your 1 hour treat. Alright, so, and the reason I have it like this is because of how I do the heat sets. Don't mind the thermite stains on the table. Alright, so, for heat sets, I have, good old LTT store. A $10 iron off of Amazon that has some temperature control. To go with that, I have a $10 heat set tip off of Amazon that, you put in the end screw on. I've got a baggie that has more ends for different size heat sets. And yep, this is it. This is the ideal heat set installation setup. I'm trying to find the outlet on my power strip. I feel, and trying not to touch the phone. Alright. So we will leave. Alright, yep, have a good one. I'll still be here for a bit because I thought I would be further along by now. I am not further along by now. The plastic fought me. And the plastic mostly won. So, for these super drums, you have a few heat set locations. Ah, neat. You have 8 along the perimeter. You have 1 that will go inside of this core piece that sits in the front. You will have 2. I have to find the part. 2 that will go inside of this middle piece that sits in the drum right here, and then also sits I swear I just had this. You know what? I'm going to grab all of these. Right here. And then you have... No, wait a minute. No, you don't have one in here. I'm misremembering. You have screws that go here. Oh, hold on. There we go. I missed a little bit. It happens. Yeah, 1 in each end of here. 1 inside of the bottom part of here. So a total of 13 heat sets. If you were going the... the mid-lock route, on the front of the drums, there are these 2 holes that are threaded for M5 already by default. So like they print threaded, get out a thing of M5 screws and show you. Oh. Hey, remember that time I said I was going to injure myself? Yeah, it turns out the end of this is hot. Plug that in and I set it there, yeah. Anyway, yeah, M5, they're a little snug, but the threads are started in it. You could take and just... Sorry, Instagram. You could take and just thread M5 into there and use that for fidlock mounts. Or the M5 bolts for midlock 1. Or... Uh-oh. Or your option is you can sink an M3 heat set into that hole and use the... Oh, well, there's a lot of crud on my desk. Use the midlock or midlock 2 option that uses M3. Anyway, these parts can go back over. They can go in there. This is fine. I'm just setting this up plain, where they haven't requested that I do either of the other things. They just sort of, they chuck these in pouches. So, what I do is let's get out the heat sets. A lot of things in my screw tray. Ow, that... Don't burn yourself, kids. That shit sucks. That... Ow, that is going to suck now. It is okay. Throw my heat sets in here just so they're in grabbing range. And what I do is take my iron. It already has, I hope, the... Yeah, it already has the tip in it for M3 heat sets. So you need one in either end of these. So what I do... I'm getting this good. Oh, I'm bumping the Instagram. See, that's why I didn't move the Instagram. Do it most of the way. And then I just push it down on my desk surface. Because my desk is a, like, composite top, I believe, or a, like, semi-slate surface. It's pretty resistant to heat. And then, you know, you just push it down onto a nice flat surface, and you end up with a lack of autofocus. Okay, well, yeah, see, pretty well set heat set. So, do it again. Remember that the first side is hot when you do this, because I think the first time I did it, I went and just stuck my finger right back down on that one, and I was like, oh, wow, that sucked. So do it most of the way, and then push it down. Flat surface, move it around a little bit so you don't risk it sticking in any one spot, and there you go. You have it nice and flattened heat set. Now, the PET G, that was a PLA part. The PET G ones are a little trickier because PET G, just as a material, you know, gloopier. I find that I need to sink the heat set further into the PET G. Otherwise, it just sitting there, kind of, the gloopiness of it wants to draw the heat set back out, you know, put a little bit more force on it. So I just make sure I sink it a little further in, make sure that material further into the heat set hole is molten before pushing it down. That way it stays set in the correct spot more consistently, in my experience. You know, I could also be doing this pushing onto my silicone mat here, and that would work. But I left it to the side because for doing the drums themselves, when I go to, I'll show you. I'll get to that point. Another heat set. Yeah, the bottom. Went a little further because G. Push it in. Move it around. There we go. That is a well set heat set because the plastic isn't bunched up around the outside and it's not overly sunk in. Oh, look at that! The autofocus worked. Also, look at that! Look at that finish. That is I like that. The bed finish off of the slice worked bed plate. Really like that plate. Which, I mean, for 50 bucks, I'd hope I like it. But then again, SVO weight, 350 by 350 bed size. It's kind of a lot of material to have on a bed plate. It's gonna kind of cost a little bit more. Yep, there we go. Alright. Yep, alright, so the plan here, you'll notice, like, what I've been doing with the others, this is a lot bigger, which is why I have just the more open space, a little bit of strings still existing. I do the same thing. Take, you know, put a heat set on the iron. I take and hold this upright. I like doing this upright because then while I'm doing this, I eyeball the depth. Push it in. Go in a little further than necessary, and then push it down. don't push it down too hard, and try and put force across it so that you're basically getting it even with the flatness of the other parts. And you gotta wait a little longer than with PLA parts, just because it holds the heat a little more. Take it up. There we go. Set pretty flush. There's a little bit of material around it. Oops. But, you know, pretty cleanly set heat set. And now we just do that 7 more times per drum. I gotta remember put my hands where the camera is. The hardest part of streaming is, you know, when you're used to doing something, you're putting your hands where it's convenient for you, but you know, when you want other people to see it, you have to put your hands where, you know, where it can be seen what you're doing. Yep. That. Down. I noticed you don't want to, again, you don't want to push too much on exactly this point, because it'll smush the top of it out a little bit. Which is, you know, not what you want. Alright. Get back up. Get a little in, a little further than needed, and just flat down. And what you could do is, if you know that when you're building your drum, you know, it's like a second or third or however many it's one that you've printed, you know exactly how many springs you need in it, you know exactly, you know, the tricks to making it work exactly as it needs to. You could instead, you know, mod your files so that you don't need heat sets. You could just use coarse thread screws and not need to do any of this. And then, you know, if you know you're not going to be opening up the drum a bunch of times and working on it. But I still prefer the heat sets, because, you know, heat sets, they're nicer if you need to take it apart, if you need to maintenance it, clean it out after you dropped it in the sand at APOC, you know, that sort of dealio. If your blaster decides that it doesn't like how many springs are in it, like I started out, my first one I printed, I did 6 springs, I think, and the Ryobi wouldn't shoot it. The solenoid in it wasn't very happy with it. I eventually brought it down to 4 springs, and now it'll shoot at, you know, 18 DPS off of 4 springs. That's fine. But yeah, if you know exactly what you're going for, you could just edit files, make it use screws, just screws, no heat sets, and be able to skip this step. Would be pretty time efficient, but I don't know. I wouldn't do it. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, the first pet G. Okay, see, I took a bit too long to get on there. There we go. See, ideally, you'd also be sticking the heat set into the hole there a little bit, and then putting the iron onto it. But me, I like living dangerously. Oh, hey, Justice. I don't know. Because, like, heat sets are cheap. Like, this, like, it's time expenditure rather than much else. And, like, if I wanted to get coarse thread screws to use, those are a little pricier to get in stuff that isn't Phillips head. Because Phillips sucks. Although I guess... I don't know, I haven't looked at coarse thread. I know, on AliExpress it was a pain to get coarse thread in Torx, which I would want Torx, but I get Hex is okay. It was actually kind of surprisingly difficult to find coarse thread. But, I'm fine with doing it this way. Because this way, Matt is specifically having me build his with 8 springs this time to try on his spirit, where the previous 2 were 6 springs. So there's a good chance that I will be taking either this one apart to bring it back down to 6 springs, or taking his other 2 apart to bring them up to 8 springs. In which case, that disassembly right there, I already feel justified using the heat sets for. Alright, that one is heat setted. Yeah, I say you used max springs and it worked. Or at least it worked until you were spinning around in your hand and it exploded. Good times. Well, like, when I tried the first one I built on Andrew's spirit, it wasn't super happy with... I think even 6 springs it wasn't super happy with, which is weird, but it had the same issue the Ryobi did of the pusher getting caught, not wanting to retract all the way. I don't know. His spirit is also, like, pretty old build, if I remember correctly. Alright, so. Whoops. That part is not needing heat sets. A little bit of stringiness. Oh, there's... I still don't know why that did the thing it did, but oh well. Orca slicer go burr. Alright, back at it again. I need... Yeah, that is true. Because Aiden does just go out on the field and be like, alright, time to unload mags. You load the mags, you unload the mags. 1, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And you will notice these are slightly different heat sets, because I have the actual Voron spec heat sets on hand. The ones in some of the hardware kits are a little different. I think maybe they're just the slightly longer version, but whatever. Like, it's heat sets. If the dimensions are slightly off, it's still just being melted into plastic. Yeah, I can actually feel this eSun Pet G like behaving a little differently to the heat set than the Arione did, which is kind of funny. All right. Yeah, it actually... That's close enough. It resisted outward a little bit. Might need to just crank my temp a little more. This was only at a little over 250. Down and hold it there. Spin. Yeah, that's fine. Ooh. As long as you don't touch it for too long, it works out. Alright. There we go. The little bit more heat makes all the difference. Ooh. There we go. Excuse me. Ooh. Oops. That was the sound of the bearing falling out of its hole. Which, probably on me. I didn't need to put the bearings in that early. I kind of forgot about doing the heat sets and that I'd be flipping them over and whatnot. In, down. OBS, why is my bit rate going to shit? What are you doing? What are you doing, OBS? Oh dear lord. What do you mean 8% drop frames? That's atrocious. I have internet, OBS. What are you doing? Meanwhile, who knows what Instagram is doing? I do realize I forgot to plug in my phone. I should probably do that. I'm waiting for 3 seconds later, phone just turns off from dead battery. It's like, oh yeah, look at that. I said this would happen. Let me do that real quick. By the power of USB-C everywhere. God, I love USB-C. Everything should use USB-C. It's just better. Try to keep that from jiggling too much. How is the autofocus? Okay. Oh, that one went right in there when I left it on the... Bumped it again. Left it on the... iron. I forgot the name iron. Left it on the iron a bit longer to heat up. Alright. This one is done. So that is... Unless I did that thing where I forget, that's all the heat sets in here. The real trick, take and set this somewhere where I'm not going to burn myself on it again. Why does my shoulder hurt? I know why my shoulder hurts. Anyway, Alright, now that we're done with that section, I can have my mouse pad back. I've lost it. I found it. Ooh. Knocking other things over. Which direction does this go? That way. Alright. Alright, this back. The heat sets can go back in the drawer where they belong. Get the work mat back out. Alright. The next step will be a little bit, don't mind that, a little bit of assembly. So, start with screws. I got my trusty Ryobi mini screwdriver set. I think I need this size bit. Nah. I'll say that was, I thought about it, and I realized how many screws I have to put in. That's a no. A no right there. Let me knock stuff over. I haven't even had to drill out for anything this week. How about that? Alright, so we get the drill. So we need probably this size. Nope, nope. Alright, the one that was sticking up a little bit was the correct choice. Yep, okay, cool. So, use that. Make sure my torque is set to something reasonable. So, now we're actually on a little bit of assembly. And up until this point, it's just been not much assembly. Alright, this can go... Lost the... Oh, God damn it. Alright, by plugging in the phone, I've done something worse. I can now hit the mic, hit the phone arm, or the cable. Alright, bearing is in. We've regained our bearings. Pins kit gets the stainless screws. Not like it really matters, but for consistency. Oops. See, this is why I had the phone further away. Yeah, with a little oomph that goes. And then now, one of these blocks just into here. There we go. Another nice thing about heat sets is you can kind of just put a little bit of power into them, and it doesn't risk nearly as much. Alright. That's assembled. Out of these parts bags, we have this tiny spacer. Oh, okay, that's a loose fit. That'll wait till I'm further along. Here too. Yeah, this will also wait till I'm further along. Okay, well. Just the front of the drum needs to go over there. I'm trying to remember, it's been a hot minute since I assembled one of these, so I'm trying to remember where I need to prioritize. Alright. Start with this. I need to hit this with the lighter. Where's the lighter? I smacked my hand. And Matt wanted 8 springs. So, take the drum spring. I've smacked the phone again. Take the drum spring. Unroll it a little bit and just put your thumb right like this. Get a little bit of... Wish I could zoom in that camera up there. I can't really put it in a good spot. Anyway, alright, so Instagram, you get it first. I have my thumb... Good lord. I have my thumb here on the spring. Careful to only unroll a little bit. Get the bottom of it, sort of started in the groove. Push the straight side in first, and then unroll it a little bit more to get the round bit in. And that is... Do that however many more times. So, YouTube, you get to see it up close. My thumb, I put like approximately like that. And lay it into the notch. And then a little bit more on that. And this will need to come up like this. And then now I'll just do it several more times. Adjusting the previous one each time. Or bending this out of the way, either way. I do love drum springs. This is a lot easier than with the foam blast style drum springs, just because, well, the cutout in this piece is really meant for this style of drum spring. The radius matches the bend at the bottom. The foam blast style springs tend to have more of a bend at the bottom than a radius, so you kind of have to, or no, they're square. Yeah, so they have more like two corners instead of being actually radiused. So you kind of have to squish them down a little bit and sort of force them into that groove. Definitely a trickier thing. But this, like, you know, there we go. Flip it over and push it down so they're all aligned. And then this piece sets into there. And you use a screw. I need to figure out a better phone situation. Alright, and then you use a screw and just... There we go. Now that piece is secure. I'm going to do the same for the green one. For Aiden only wants 6 springs, so what I do... I find where the top one's going to be. I start one away from... top is really not like it really matters. You could just put, you know, 6 in, skip 2 spots, and call it good. Like the distribution should be pretty well done. But I like to do things a bit more evenly. Oop. Excuse me. Oh, there we go. I felt my eyes water, and I was like, oh. Yeah, trying again. So just loop this in the bottom, with the straight part aligned, and then just bring this up. Yep. Alright. Skip around. Skip 1. Up. Ow. There we go. Gotta be a little careful pushing in on these. The sides of these are pretty thin, and you can end up cutting yourself a little bit, but... Good. Alright, push this down. Nope. Thought I had it. go. All right. And there we go. Then we have 6 in that one. So, give me a moment. Ace. Recovering from being sick sucks. So then, same deal. This gets set into this spot. Yeah. Hold it there. And flip it over. Start a screw right there. Oops, I did it again. I will... Alright, wait. There's a bit of stringiness in the way. G, stringy? No. There we go. Alright, that one is in place. Cool. Alright, next we get to deal with the... Oh, I about threw one on the floor. The fans. So... Oh, well, actually, I've missed a step here. So, next step, use the... Take the other bearing. It goes into here, and that's the front bearing location. That's a bit of a loose fit. Alright, baggy. Oh, we love our plastic baggies. Anyway, so, with the fan, there's a trick to it. I'm going to set it in here like this for now. That's not where it stays. Well. But, for the fan, what you need to do is lube it. I believe Captain uses some spray silicone. What I use, that I've found works, is some silicone shock oil. I think this is... I have no idea what weight this is. Oh, 90 weight. This is 90 weight, but you could also probably use something thinner. You could probably also use something heavier. And what I used to do was I would get some cotton swabs out of my Gunpla toolbox, and these are like the slightly nicer bamboo swabs. Pointy-ended ones. They hold together a little better. I used to take that and then just go around and swab this entire top surface and some of this inner surface. What I'm going to try and do this time is I have some pieces of shop rag here. By that I mean I have 2 entire swabs of them. Dipping this in and just using that, you know, bake into one of those type dealio. I am going to grab a rubber glove though, because I don't feel like getting silicone oil on my hands. Two of them. Nope, I said. Back again. So, we're here. Let me just take a peep at Discord real quick, make sure I'm not missing stuff. I have to be responsible and make sure people aren't setting shit on fire. Nice, you got a Valkyrie Volt. Alright. So, remember, kids, if it's something gross and chemical and whatnot, you should probably just... yeah, it might be tough guy to not use rubber gloves, but your skin will thank you for it in, depending on how bad it is, not very long. So fold this... I don't need this much of this at once. I'm gonna... There. And the reason for the shop towel is low lint. So we're getting less fibers in our drum. So, and then I just go over this. Oh yeah, this. Oh, this is okay. I thought there would be a bit more trouble. This is the and this is the top side. So this would be where the layers are like fighting me the most. Yeah. And so my logic here is any part of the fan here that is going to be touching another bit of plastic, you want some silicone oil on to reduce friction. That is why I do the fan itself instead of some of the other parts of the drum, because I figure it's a lot easier to tell what the fan is going to touch if you're going by the fan. Alright, a little, yeah, maybe a little more. I normally have to go a bit more overboard than that, but I'll probably make sure. And now, okay, it is tearing at the cloth a little bit. Not a big deal. I'll put more on. And what I do is in here, this is where the springs will uncoil against. I like to put a little bit in there, just so that if they're rubbing against there, there's less friction on them coiling and uncoiling, and that should save friction, just in the system. There, I'm looking for the shine off of the light itself. It's actually working pretty well in the YouTube camera. It's showing the shine. Yeah, and so that side should be adequately oiled up. We're gonna just pop it out. Bring that bearing back. Bearing's gonna go there, and then we're just gonna flip it over. And so the trick for this is trying to line up the flat part with the top of here. Set it down a little bit, and then rotate backwards until it drops down. Am I gonna get caught on the top of the springs? Yeah. So just start there. Take back. There we go. Okay. I didn't go quite far enough. And there. And that's where you want it. So, rinse and repeat. We now have this entire side to do. I'm gonna just... Ooh! I put a bit much on there, but that's fine. If I just start on one side, I'll come back, scoop some of that up. And yeah, if you just took this entire piece out, outside or something, and just give it a quick spray with some silicone spray in a can, that would probably be quicker and work fine. I prefer this method just because I already had this. In fact, I'm pretty sure that's the stuff I used in my Mythic drum when I built it. And I was like, you know what? If Ezekiel said this will work for Mythic drum, fuck it, it should work for this. Alright. So for this one, yeah, hold on. do the blue one now. Getting ahead of myself a little bit. So, same deal. Set it in upside down just to have something that'll hold it while working on it. And go to business. Go to business? Go to work. I mean, I think I tried to go to work and just... Or anyway. And I've noticed, I think, for the one, so like the fan on the green one is actually a PLA print. The fan on here is a PET G print. I've noticed that for the PET G prints, it seems like they don't really need the lube as much. They seem to already be more slick than the... Okay, I just noticed I'm losing fibers onto here. I'm going to... do another pass that's exclusively to try and clean up my fibers. Okay, so one drum is about the limit for one side of the cloth. So fold it over, grab a bit more, and keep going. Fold this up a little bit so I can... Looks fairly done. There we go. All right, take it, bearing back where it belongs, and now same deal. Flat part, line it up with the top. So initially set it down, and then there we go. Might need to just go to another piece of the... Oh, no, okay, there we go. Flip it over on this side. This side has no tears. Alright, and there we go. Briefly return. Yes, we have made it to lube stage. It's like the Sonic, all the Sonic underwater stages. Lube stage. As I guess some of those you only assume it's water. But that's probably getting off topic. Yep, we actually just finished, I believe. You know, there's always the chance, you know, it's like, oh, this run's kind of shit. Time to take it back apart and do it again. But I haven't had to do that yet. Alright, slow down. And so now, this can go back away where back out's where I store it. Okay, and I have extra paper towel. Cool. So, next step here, we get it back out the bag of tiny bits. Put one of these rings onto here. What this does is that is a spacer for the bearing. Which is basically because that bottom surface there is going to be even with these surfaces because it prints on this surface. You can't really make it taller than these unless you wanted to have awful supports on every one of these and for like 2 layers, and that's not it, boss. So you put that there, and I'm actually going to because of how loose that is, I'm popping the bearing back out of here, smacking the phone, and putting it onto this piece. Because that's snug, and that's going to hold that in place. We're going to get the neck of the drum, and that will snap into snap is a strong, slide into right here. A little bit loose, could be more snug. I might throw some. So a neat trick with these, if it's a little bit loose, which that just happened, so will this video be accessible later so it can be referenced? So I'm gonna be honest, I don't know how Instagram works. So I don't know if Instagram will save it at all, but the whole thing is also on YouTube. So like it should be on YouTube as a VOD unless I've somehow messed that up. So yeah, whole thing, just maybe the YouTube view instead of the Instagram view will be accessible. Okay, and remember that time I said lubing was done? I forgot. I have already forgot. See, the problem is it's been several weeks since I last built something. I obviously forgot some of the parts. We're gonna get the... So the followers, you do lightly lube the surfaces of those. I think I've used them before without adding some lube, but it's better to just put a little bit on to cover it. So, you know, back, same process. Fold up a bit of paper towel. Grab some on there. And then just top surface. Bottom surface, done. A little bit more because the first little bit the paper towel absorbs. So bottom surface, top surface, bottom surface, top surface. Just a little bit on there just to help with the... Okay, usually it will save the video. Good to know. I know I saw something about Instagram saying it would, like, copy or draft of it would be available. But like I said, where this is the first Instagram live I've done, I have no idea what to expect, really. So, top surface. I guess the Q-tips are nicer for this part because of the protrusions on the top of the follower that help it that go around the guiding rail for the darts. Like that's catching the paper towel pretty hard. Just gonna wipe the top of the top surface, trying to leave less crud on there. Bottom surface, I'm leaving more paper towel than silicone on there, and there we go. Alright. Yeah, you can tell this shit gets everywhere because the outside of the bottle is very silicone-y. And it's just going to stay on there. Like, once a layer on something, it's there. Unless you can, like, properly wash it, but I'm not about to properly wash the outside of that bottle when that's its purpose. Alright, so these are now greased up. So, back to, what was I saying? The neck of the drum is on. And so, remember before, I'm going to rotate this a little bit because it's a little too tall. So remember before when I, said line this up flat and then rotate it clockwise? Now what we're going to do is we're going to start by putting followers in, and the cutouts have to go onto the rail. So pull this back a little bit, drop it in, forward. 2, 3, and now this fourth one. Oh, excuse me. So the fourth one is the trick, is you rotate this one section further, and then drop this fourth one in. And now there is tension on that. And that tension is what pushes the last of the darts up. Because if you accidentally leave it rotated to this section, you're going to have very little tension. Well, I'll show you. If you leave it at this section, you have like that right there, and that's not going to make sure that you're... Especially after this has settled in a little bit, there's a little bit of slack in the springs. You need this pre-tension on it to make sure it's going to push the darts all the way to the top. Alright, done that, and now I would put a lid on it. So this... Oh, I remember. Another thing. I was saying there is a little bit of slack in the neck. Right there. What I like to do is I will take a piece of support, or brim, or just any bit of flatter part available. Actually, this is a nicer flat part. And I will just snip a little bit of that. Then I'm going to snip this end of it to make it a little nicer. And just push that down in... Nope. This would have been easier before this tension, but take and just push a little bit of that down in there. And that helps take up some of the just... There has to be some tolerance in there to accommodate printers. So this just... Sometimes you add a little bit to tidy it up. Like the little bit of slack won't bother it at the end, but I just like doing this, shaking the camera to take up that way. Alright, and then this, line it up with the neck notches. Line it up back here. There we go. That is a mostly assembled drum. What does this mean? What do you mean? Oh god, YouTube is breaking. No data. What do you mean 12% drops frames? Okay, hold on a second. I need to... Am I on YouTube right now? Oh my god, what is that delay? Yeah, why are you doing this? Why? Oh, I'm smacking the camera again. Marvelous. Okay, hold on. First off, I saw a spot on my screen. Excellent, it says. Oh, really? Excellent. Is 2,000... I don't think 2,000 kilobits per second is actually excellent. What is going on? 502 kilobits per second. Why is my connection to YouTube shitting itself? I have... Okay, actually, I think... Let's use the internet right now. Yeah, temporary break while I... troubleshoot YouTube. Okay, so speed test is saying I only have like 30 something megabits per second, but like that's like... Also, congrats, you get to enjoy some clicky keyboard. Yeah, so if I have 30 megabits per second, that's 30,000 kilobits per second. That means you, like, my upload should be at, like, more than 502 kilobits per second. Whatever. I blame YouTube. It's always YouTube. YouTube is always at fault. Anyway, I will set this to the side and we'll do the green one. So, green one's going to be... same way. We're going to take the bearing that was previously over there. We take the tiniest little print that has a gross bit on it. You. Get out of there. Get gone. Yeah, that's got no friction on there. Take the bearing, which is a bit snug of a fit, but that's fine. And now that's on there. Take the neck, which that top layer came out kind of weird. But that doesn't make sense. Yeah, so I'm gonna the top layer, like, part of the top layer is fine, but then the rest of it, like, it's kind of like the nozzle wasn't all the way heated. Anyway, this in here, it's also a bit loose. We go grab a hunk of I'm just gonna use this one again. Give I need the snips. Why did that come out of the bag? I did not pull that. Alright. So we got some more thin bits of... Welcome to live chat. Could you go away? YouTube sucks so much. It's only getting worse. Alright, so snip out. And I'm holding both sides of these as I snip, because otherwise one of these bits will go flying and probably end up in my face. I've now dropped it into the drum. Ugh. It's trying my patience. Okay, I'm just gonna... There. I should have done that, but I didn't want to dump it over. Okay, so we're gonna try again. We just want to slip this little bit of hunk of brim into the gap there, but not too far into the gap. I've just done. There we go. Just to take up some of the excess. One more piece. Yeah, there we go. That helps add a little bit of tension. You get a little less wiggle when you're done. Alright. So, follower. Follower. Follower, making sure they're all facing the right way. Then, last one with pretension. Oh, there's a bit of paper towel fuzz there. Alright. And now, drop that on. There we go. So, what I now do is grab those parts that I have set somewhere. So, these parts. That baggie goes over here. So these are the parts that go in the back that help you load the drum. And it's pretty simple. You have this little bit here. And that is really just a little activation notch / lever. When it's in one spot, the spring-loaded piece can ratchet. When it's in another spot, it cannot. And basically, I started it off in this position and let it rotate there so that it holds it there. Basically, you adjust tension a little bit. Like, I'm going to not even use the drill right there. Just set a little bit of tension. That's a bit loose. I'll see. Anyway, so next you take a screw, put it in from the side here. I put it in. I point it at the hole. I put it enough that it's barely sticking out. Take this piece, get it lined up. I believe should be right there, and then just, there we go. You'll notice that's a bit free-floating. But we take the spring for. Spring sits in the bottom of here. Spring goes up here and catches the underneath of the lever. And what I do is I hold it in place, and then ta-da. That keeps that assembled until I get to the drum itself. Drop this on. Can't see anything, I'll do that left-handed for you. And alright. What that does is lets you rotate and if I unsnap that, it now ratchets and will hold its position. And if I undo it very carefully, yeah, if you just let that go, it'll do it really quickly, probably shoot a follower out the top of here, maybe damaging something, and also has a chance to damage the springs, so don't do that. And now that I have that on, it's also not falling apart, so I can take and flip this over. Put some screws in it. Alright. And I have a method to this. I will start here. Skip 2. 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 And like, I know for, plastics and stuff, it's really not as important to do like rotational tightening like that because the stresses just aren't really as much there, but it makes me feel better. And you'll notice this has, a smidge of wiggle, but not a lot. And now, yeah. It does, you'll notice I'm hitting a couple hitches right like there. That's basically just me rotating it faster than that follower can kind of drop into place. Which is because, yeah, the inside isn't, like, there's still friction with the inside of the neck, and it's also light. So it's just not dropping quickly. But if you really time it. Cool. So that is one down. We will now assemble the parts of this ratcheting mech. Again, put the screw in there, just barely sticking out. That way, I then use that to line up this bit. Because if I don't do that, there's a chance that I get it not quite lined up, and I really don't want to drive the screw just into the side of this part. There we go, you can see where it's lined up. And it doesn't need to be tight in there because that's, as long as it's gone through all the way and into the plastic, it's good. Take our little nub, little ratchet lock here. I put that one in backwards. Alright, so what have we learned? Come on. Where's the hole? There we go. Alright. Alright, now that's in the way it goes. This, I just set it above the hole. Held to, well, no, I need to start the screw in before I do that. Ow. Yeah, and then hold this up here. Put my thumb against it for a bit. No, honestly, that... There we go. That one's a bit more snug. Which I like. But it's also pet G, so I'm willing to tighten the screw into it a little more. Take our spring into the top of here. It may... Yeah, there we go. Push up from the bottom. Push the ratchet lock over. And there we go. This is where it needs to be. This was spare. Actually, no, I remember what happened there. Is I printed it, and it was after I had PLA in the nozzle, so the piece fell apart. And I needed to reprint it, so I printed two because it felt dumb to heat up the printer to print one of those little things. Alright, the blue one is here. Rotate it on. Bend the screw into it. You can tighten it all the way because it goes into a heat set. That one is... Takes notably more force to rotate because it's got the 8 springs in it instead of just the 6. But yeah, that one's ready for screws. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Skip 2. Skip 2. Skip 2. Skip 2. Skip 2. Grab that screw that tried to run away. Skip 2. Alright, and now we should have a second drum. It's just... Ooh. The ratchet on that one sounds a lot meaner, but that might be because of just the spring. It might be because pet G. A couple of reasons. Anyway, ratchet lock and then just slowly... There we go. Seems like... Ooh, hold on, there's a bit of stringiness there. Weird. And that looks like we have 2 assembled drums. But how much fun would it be to just see the assembled drums and not see them work? Now, see, it is almost 5. It's almost been 2.5 hours. Put the drill away. Because I shouldn't. Jinxing myself a little bit, assuming I don't have to do anything else on this. This can go down. I have 4 extra screws. These can go into screw bag down here. We love extra screws. Alright, so let me grab the old sack of darts, and y'all get to watch me load this, which y'all aren't getting the greatest view. Let me help that a little bit. So, sack of darts, mostly bamboos and gauze. I don't know if I even have 50 darts here, but so my strategy is I leave the ratchet lock off and I manually rotate the drum. So I put a dart in, rotate it down, dart in, rotate it down, dart in, rotate it down. Now sometimes you gotta poke them a little bit, make sure they go. Oh, yeah, I'm doing this the wrong direction because I dumped the dart down in that direction. Actually, the real funny part is this is the one with 8 springs. I don't even know if this one will fire out of the Ryobi because spring force is so high. There we go. Caught on something. Yep, I'm not. Hold on. A dart being funny. Oh, no, it's just me. Started tipping. That is one thing, is some darts you do just have to push a little bit on because they're slightly longer and will tend to scrape a little bit. Part of it might also be that I need to load I should be loading towards the front instead to keep the tip of the dart all the way forward more. So I'm causing the problem myself. Let's go to the next slot. Like, yeah, is it more work than loading a Talon? Yeah. But you don't get to dump 70 darts at a time with a Talon. Or even 3 Talons or whatever. I think also part of it is it's 8 drum springs, so it's like I'm not... It feels like I'm having to put too much force into rotating it. Because I'm used to 4. But actually, it's just like, no, that's just... You know, just what it takes to turn twice as many drum springs. Okay, I messed that up. I fumbled that myself. Oh, no, I absolutely fumbled that. What is going on? There we go. Didn't push down when I needed to, and I accidentally got two darts into one of the slots. And that won't work, because what'll happen is if you have only 2 darts in the space that 3 need to be in, it'll tend to tumble and get caught as you're trying to shoot it. is. I think I'm also not used to loading on a table like this. I normally sit and hold the drum on my legs and then do it. So it's bad angle, more springs than I'm used to. Okay, now I see part of the problem. There's a dart folded in there. Where did that come from? Damn it all. Okay, well, so the strat for this is... Congrats, you get to see troubleshooting in real time. There we go, 3... No, that's not an invitation. That's not a... We're gonna take out the two that are in here. Said. There's a few more than two in there. There we go, okay. So we're gonna take those out. There's one more that's sort of trapped in there. Come on, get out. Alright. Yeah, so what has happened is... there is a dart, like, right there, in that spot that should be nothing, and it's folded behind the fan. I'm gonna try to... I thought just rotating it till it was out of the way would work. Here's it hasn't, so I'm going to... Okay. Rotate it. There we go, that far. This is ridiculous. Come on. I see part of the issue. The tweezers are slightly too big for the slot. There we go. Congratulations. That's a bamboo. Alright. Oh, and even worse, I've lost the dart up above the thing. Alright, so we're going to try and just recover this by... Okay, there we go. I've got it loaded. Also loaded. Let me try and put these three back in there. 4. It does like stiffer darts over softer darts, and bamboo 2X's are a pretty soft dart. And I've just done this myself. I've managed to push down on the front too much and tip a couple of them. Push one in, go down just a little bit, put one in just a little bit. There we go, put one in, and just a... there we go, that's... there we go. Alright. It is loaded. Again, I don't even know if it'll shoot out of the non-drill because of the spring force. It's higher than I normally use for it. But I will give it a shot. Hiya. We are in low power mode. All right. All right, full auto. What a sight. I'm gonna move my dart catch a little bit. All right, please catch most of these. Yeah, that's a good angle. Oh. I did have one get caught. What is it catching on? Did I... Oh. Soft darts. Yeah. Pro tip. Don't use soft darts. Yeah, alright. What has happened is a couple of these have rotated. And now they're under the fan. So I have to do the same thing again of fishing them out. This one can come out because it's going to get stuck. This one is turning into... Yeah, this one can come out. These are also used darts. So, like, it's not exactly an optimal test case. Although I guess it is sort of a durability test, you know. But, yeah, you can see these were already looking a little scrunched up. Alright. Gonna try again. I am surprised. It's firing pretty well, the ones that are, like, making their way out. I had wall a little bit. What the fuck? A BB came out from somewhere. I don't know where that's from. Was that in a dart or something? But, yeah. Okay, yeah. You see, it'll shoot. Shoots the decent darts pretty well. Let's go see. Oh. I found the rest of my drum springs. Yes, I don't really want to get into my saved up fresh darts. Because my saved up fresh darts. Guess I might be. No, I don't use those either. Okay, I have decided that for the good of actually testing this, I will get into some of my fresh darts. Not the pink ones. Not some of my fun ones, but I will do a full drum load of Goss. I still have no idea, like, where this came from. Like, I don't know how, if it, like, got stuck up in the drill or, like, in the drum or something, but it just appeared while I was shooting. It's, like, maybe it was in a dart or something. It's really weird. Anyway, ratchet lock off. Oh yeah, this is already... The lower spring force is already a lot easier on my wrist than the 8 springs was. Kind of crazy behind that. How much? Ooh. That was a Certified donut can't speak roller. What is this? Is the rabbit easy to do? Oh, it is. It is not easy to do. I mean, so part of it is. Like, part of it is just you take the insides out, you put new outsides on. The other part is these are drone motors, effectively. Drone motors, drone speed controller, Raspberry, like one of these inside as the actual processor running it. And then to top it off, I'm using the stock switch and selector. And basically what I did is I opened up that switch. I took the MOSFET off the outside, opened up the switch, took the circuit board off of it. And then physically cut some of the metal parts inside of the switch, wired them up differently, and then closed it back up. And honestly, that part is the most difficult. Aside from all the codes I had to write as well, because I wrote all the code for this. And it's not done. I don't like this. I want eventually a shell around it. A little bit, mostly so that people don't go, a finger go burr. Yeah, we're work in progress. I'll have more streams that touch on that specifically, and like I'm hoping to be able to afford to commit time to progressing it into at minimum doing builds on a commission basis, but also like parts kits would be neat, although different models of drill and whatnot, like say this thing, that was generously donated by Al the Geek to be used as a donor to build off of. I'm hoping to work on that, make that the subject of much content. Assuming that, again, I can afford to have the time to do so. Shameless self-promotion here, patreon.com/DonutCatsWorkshop. Give me money to work on projects, and I'll give you project videos. Insert that meme of the deal. You get, I get, He is making drill every 6 months to their engineering division. It's right next to factory. Huh. Interesting to know. Alright, how full is this? I haven't been counting as I've been loading this because everything else. But yeah, you can see it's getting full. There's a lot of orange in there. Love us some orange darts. Sorry for... Oh, nah. That's fine. Like, honestly, it's counting to 70 anyway. Let's be real. That's a task. And besides, when it's full, it's kind of easy to tell. Oh, hold on. This is... Oh, that's a hunk of foam. I'll say that was like the same color as the filament, so I'm like, did I break something with that BB? Mysteriously showing up? Almost there. Yeah, so that is the one downside to the you know, using the phone for the Instagram stream is y'all don't get the backing track that the YouTube does. That's okay. YouTube stream has been a bit of a desert so far. It looks like. Oh wow, that dart's got like a bunch of glue at the bottom of it. Oh well, put it in. And there we go. That is... So that right there should be 70. Like, there's enough space to put one at the top, but you shouldn't, just so you have a little bit of slack. Alright, let me put my good darts away, and I'm just gonna... I'll keep these 70 darts out, and they'll be my ones I can use, because the Gauss darts, I can shoot them a few times out of a drill early. They're really good out of flywheels, so they can just be fired a bunch and not be an issue. Alright, so round 2. Low power. Alright, full auto. We're in, trying to line it up for a good shot on both screens and get it into the dart catch. Same time. My finger may have been holding the bottom of the drum a little bit and also tilting it, but yeah. Oh, looks good. It's still not the happiest on 6 springs just because of the solenoid, but, I mean, it shot it. Noisy thing. Who would make such a noisy thing? Is it me? Would I make such a noisy thing? I would make this noisy. There you go, there's your... Just leave that there. Grab my cover for my battery and put that away. Okay, so it is. There we go. Just lay this here. So that's 2 drums. 2 drums started today. 2 drums finished today. It only took quite a bit longer than I thought it would because I'd struggled with supports. If I hadn't have struggled with those supports, that would have been an easy half hour off of these. But I guess that's good to know that that can happen, because I didn't consider that. Oh, there's darts on the floor. Oop, my face is on the camera. There's darts on the floor. There's darts on the floor. Alright. Well, that's probably about enough of that. I think if it seems like the stream was getting... There was a bunch of people left, I was going to just keep going and work on something else. But it seems like, again, the YouTube stream is kind of empty. And also YouTube was dropping a bunch of my frames earlier. And honestly, I'm sure y'all have seen what you wanted to see, so... I'll leave that there. I'll probably call it there. I appreciate anyone showing up. Let's see, go ahead and cut to my starting soon. Thanks to... Here's my, my free members on my Patreon. Here's... Actually, I don't know if... You probably can't see the mouse in that. Shout out to current single paid Patreon, Calvin. Calvin's awesome. He brings me cookies. And I will... shout out to anyone who joined and, talked a little bit. It was nice. thanks for everyone on the Instagram stream for showing up, for sharing it. Appreciate y'all being here. And I will catch y'all next stream, which might be tomorrow if I decide to have more stuff to do. I have stuff to do, I just have to decide if I want to actually do it on stream or not. So, catch y'all then. How do I... Yep. End.